Welcome, low ego action heroes. I'm Debbie Levitt, and I'm just having a coughing fit, but typically I'm from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX consultancy. We do projects, training, and consulting. Hello, I'm hoping I'm not having a coughing fit. Happy Friday, everybody. How are you doing? What are you up to? Hopefully not coughing like I am. All right, so before we jump into today's episode of Practicing Critical Thinking, where we take a look at some things you've sent in and see if they hold up, of course, thanks as always. I haven't checked this recently, so I don't know if we have some new subscribers. I'll have to check. But thank you so much to all of the low ego action heroes who are donating between $3 and $10 US per month to the channel. Totally optional, but always appreciated. And thank you so much for being part of it. And in return, you get special emoji, and I get lots of delicious chocolate. Last year, I think I made $700. So thanks, everybody. All right. So every Friday, we do Practicing Critical Thinking, and that is where you send in stuff for me to break into a million pieces and practice our critical thinking. If you'd like to send something in for next week, I'm no longer taking things for this week, you can send it to, go to deltacx.com/links, and that will tell you everything you need to know about the stream, what's the calendar of events. Uh-oh, looks like my internet is blipping again. Sorry, everybody. We had this problem yesterday. I'm very sorry to see the internet is blipping. We will have to call our provider this weekend. Let's see. Do I need to switch to the other service? You tell me. Who's watching the show right now? Is this blipping really badly? I can't tell. I'm not watching my own stream. Well, anyway, we'll try to get through it. And sorry for some of the internet blips. Hopefully. Solomon says stream is frozen in a loading state. Should be better now. Can you see or hear me? Sorry for people watching this later. This will be a little bit boring as we try to figure out my continued tech issues. Solomon says better now. Okay, then we're going to go for it and see what we can get accomplished. Thanks, everybody, and sorry about that. The backup internet is helpful, but, oh yeah, and now so now I can't control the show from my phone, so I'll have to do everything from here. Okay, that means I need to click this. And let me just get my screen ready, and we'll flip over to take a look at the things you sent in. All right, so here they are. So someone sent in Teal, which is a product I don't know of, I've never heard of. I'm certainly not endorsing in any way. They're at tealhq.com, and someone sent in and they said, I don't get this. Is this just like an Excel spreadsheet? Now, I've never heard of this before, but I have to tell you, when I first looked at it, it looked like Airtable. Solomon says my video quality is lower, but it's okay. Yeah, my backup internet is a 4G hotspot. So, and my streaming system is automatically designed to sacrifice video to try to keep audio quality. So yeah, the video might not be as good. Sorry. Hi, Manuel. Okay, so this looks like they're calling it your personal career development platform, enhance your resume, track your job search, and land a job. And then it looks like you are organizing and managing your job search, and that you might bookmark jobs to save to their Chrome extension. Now, I feel like, again, I don't know these people. I don't know this product. Maybe people swear by it. Oh, Hung is here, and he says, I like the idea of Teal and have recommended them in the past. There is real value in having a job tracker. I just don't generally trust browser plugins because of privacy issues. Great point. Yeah, what I was just going to say is I love the idea of a job tracker. Knowing me, if I were getting serious about a job search, which I'm not right now, even though I know it looks like I am, I'm half serious. I'm definitely actually looking for something, but not, I know I have a unique approach to it right now. I'm half in it, more later. But I would probably make a board in Monday.com. Monday.com, hashtag not sponsored, but many of you know I love them. Because ultimately, every screen that I'm seeing here and everything I can do here, I know I can do in Monday. And like Hung said, I don't want to set up a browser extension because I don't like that it's going to scrape my pages. So ultimately, if I have a URL for a job, I could just put that in my Monday board, my Excel spreadsheet, my Airtable. So I don't think you need a specialized tool for this. I feel like this is a little bit of a solution in search of a problem. I definitely agree about the value of tracking your applications, tracking relationships with recruiters and different HR people or hiring managers, but I don't believe that you need a tool just for that. And I'm worried about what information these people are really getting about people and their job searches. And I don't know what they're doing with that. We would have to read their terms and conditions. I don't totally feel like that right now, but we could always read privacy policy and terms of service if we were concerned about that. So, excuse me, I had a coughing fit right before the show. So I would say interesting idea, but I don't need the tool. So there you go. Make your own. All right, let's move on. Next, we have a LinkedIn article from just before the pandemic. So, hopefully not pandemic related. This is Ian Daly, who I've never heard of, so I have no opinion on him. And it says, great employees don't complain, they walk away. Now, I didn't get to read this ahead of time. I had a bit of a busy day. So let me skim it with you and let's see what we think. Let me hear your questions and your thoughts and feelings as we go. So I'm going to read it out loud from my skimming perspective. Your best people constantly impress you. Maybe, again, my management style is play to your audience. Not everybody wants weekly one-on-ones or needs them. I think you have to find out what that worker needs. Hi, Daniel. Good to see you. Hang, why are you uh-ohing? I want to see what's coming next. So, stay engaged. I can't complain, but, one-on-ones might not be the solution to that. There might be other engagement that's important here that isn't mentioned. Be curious. Find out what engages them by asking what enables you to bring your best self to work. That sounds like one of the least genuine questions a human could ask another human. I think if any of my managers ever asked me that, I would just roll over laughing and be like, okay, who are you role-playing right now? No human says to another human, what enables you to bring your best self to work? Oh, Chiwat says the screen is frozen, hence the uh-oh. Uh-oh. Should be back. Yes? No? That does look a little frozen. Can you still hear me? Even if the screen is frozen, can you hear me? Let's try, what happens if I switch back to this screen? I am so sorry about my internet, everybody. Oh, not frozen. It's back. Okay, sorry about that. We've had bad internet, and that's just, the live show. It is what it is. Everything working. Yeah, I'm on my backup internet. Solomon says one-on-ones are tiring, especially when held weekly. Yeah, some people love them. Some people, not for them. Okay, let's get your comments up on the screen, even though I won't. Oh, no, we don't need them because they're on the right side. And let's flip back to the articles. All right. Take action. Once you know what drives your employees, create a plan and act on it. So I think this is one of those, in Italian they say grazie al cazzo, or is it grazie a cazzo? No, I think it's al cazzo. And in English we say no shit, Sherlock. How does this guy suggest we solve a problem? Ask people a question and take action. Oh, really? Tell me more about this amazing method you have discovered. So I think that when we think about meaningful, actionable, and helpful, and I realize my circles aren't coming up on my screen because my phone is now not controlling my computer. Meaningful, actionable, helpful, y'all. I don't think this article is that helpful. And then, of course, when I see the plug at the bottom, I think this was just a plug. So I don't think this was meaningful, actionable, or helpful. I do agree with the title. I do agree that many great employees don't complain. They might not go to HR. They might not talk to their manager or the manager's manager. They might just quit. They might not do an exit interview. I do agree with that, but I feel like the article really glossed over what's going on and what to do about it. So I'm just going to say 0 dogs out of 5 there. All right, let's move on while we have some good internet. This one came in. I haven't read this one yet, so this is from a week ago. This is Patch Baker, who I don't know. And it says, Elon Musk just told his staff to go back to work in person. The internet explodes. Here's what many people don't know or say out loud. The people screaming that he has lost touch typically aren't entrepreneurs. The people who say people are more productive at home typically aren't in manufacturing. The people talking about toxic work culture don't have the internal drive it takes to build a successful company and one that can pay thousands of employees too. Well, this didn't age well because Tesla just announced 10% layoffs, right? It's easy to say, I'm better working from home. I feel more relaxed. I have less stress. I have better mental health, especially when you aren't footing the bill, when you don't actually see company growth numbers, when people are now demanding employers pay for home computers, internet, and phone. Here's a dose of healthy reality. If you want to foot the bill, start a company and let people work remote, which I did in 1995. If you already do that, great, enjoy it, lead the charge. Workers at Walmart went on strike and demanded... Okay, so this is one of those articles where I can't tell what this person's point is because we're really all over the place. What is the point? So I always remind people when I review their writing, whether you're writing an article or a book, and I do coach people on some of these things, what is your point? So what is this guy's point? Is the point that you're not as good as Elon Musk? Is the point that you don't work in manufacturing? Is the point that you don't get it? Is the point that, like, what is his point? So let's scroll to the end to see if he makes his point at the end. Not everything is a conspiracy for the big guy to hold the little people down. Okay, that's somewhere else. Take the tinfoil off your head, sir. So I think this guy really missed it. I also think that phrases like, come on, think, beyond your bubble, things like think, educate yourself. I always find these to be condescending and not meaningful, actionable, or helpful. So ultimately, I think this post hasn't aged well because I think Tesla just laid people off. And they're also, I think, expecting people to quit because of the callback to the office. I also think this guy is off because... nobody in manufacturing expects to work from home, but the technology people could work from home and probably did for a lot of the pandemic. Just a quick test. Can everyone still see and hear me? Because I don't have a good sense of anything, and I'm not seeing chat messages come up. So please just give me a quick check-in if you don't mind. Because this thing way over here on the side is my internet speed meter, and it's looking good, but... you know, who can say? That's why I keep this here. It constantly tells me my internet speed. So when I see it crash, I go, oh, it's me. So ultimately, I'm not sure this guy has a focused point. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do after reading the article. Thanks, everybody. I'm not sure where he's going. I think he touched on a lot of different topics, and it ends up sounding just kind of like a stream of consciousness rant that includes the usual wake up, you know, come on, think, you know. So I'm not I don't get this. I don't know what I'm supposed to do or think after seeing this. It doesn't make any sense, and ultimately Musk gets to do whatever he wants, and his workers get to do whatever they want. And I'm seeing a lot of people posting in LinkedIn saying, Tesla called us back to work and I'm leaving. And so ultimately everybody gets what they want. And Musk wanted people to leave. That's the bottom line. Because if he's going through a round of layoffs, it's easier to alienate people than to lay off a higher number. Which looks better? Tesla laid off 10% of people, or Tesla laid off 15 or 20%. So if he can alienate people and find a way to get them to quit quite naturally, he doesn't have to lay them off. And his layoff numbers can look smaller. So ultimately, I think it was probably just a calculated strategic move to decide that's how to alienate people. And he can do that if he wants, and people can quit if they want. Someone sent this in, which I also didn't get the chance to read, but it seemed related. And it said, think working from home won't hurt your career? Don't be so sure. Many companies are letting employees stay home. Some are all the time, but workers who frequent the office might get ahead. This is a very recent article. Looks like it's from a few weeks ago. But of course, I can't read it without subscribing. So thanks to the person who sent it. But in general, gee, what do you mean I'm so smart? What did I say? Ultimately, I'm just going to have to react to the title because I can't read the article, and I'm not going to buy the Wall Street Journal because someone sent this in. And ultimately, I've seen a couple of posts on LinkedIn that echo what the title of the article says. And what they're trying to say is that business relationships happen in person. They happen at random chats at the coffee, and they happen when people go to lunch together. And that because those people are going to make more better connections with people, then those people are going to be more likely to get ahead. Maybe they'll get promoted because they made the better connection. Now, obviously, if your workplace is doing that, and it could be happening, I don't know, I would probably say that's discriminatory. Because what if we have someone who's working from home because they've got a new baby? What if somebody is working from home because of disability or an accident or recovering from COVID? I remember working from home for some time because I had the flu. So are you really going to... If that is the only way to get ahead in business, then, that's strange. But what I normally do is I take a look at who the author is, because I usually assume that the author has a horse in the race of what happens here. So who is Callum? What is he into that he wants to bully you into coming back to work? Is he in real estate? What's his thing? Let's see. Funny, look at this. Look at his article after that. Workers don't feel quite as powerful as they used to. Callum. I had something in my teeth. When were you guys going to tell me? Anyway, don't forget to tell me if I have something in my teeth. I want to know. This is amazing. He's got physical disabilities and he wants everyone back to the office. Oh, okay. Well, good. If commuting is comfortable and fun for him, he can do that. Workers don't feel quite as powerful as they used to. It should say, thanks to my articles. I think that's what's missing here. Let's see what else he writes about. Gen Z workers want mission-driven jobs. A big paycheck would be nicer than mission-driven? Gee, most of the Gen Z people who talk to me do want mission-driven and want good money, but aren't as concerned about money. In this economy, getting fired takes hard work. Mastering the art of failing up. Is he trying to say failing up is a good thing and that we should be mastering it? What is this? If you started balding during the pandemic, returning to the office is tricky because you'll be self-conscious about your hair loss? Can we all agree that we don't have to read anything by Callum Borchers ever again? Can we all agree on that? Can I get an amen? I mean, sure, I'm self-conscious of the weight I've gained in the month of April this year. I'm definitely self-conscious of it, and I have to look at myself on this YouTube screen 4 times a week, and I see the weight I've gained, and I am self-conscious about it, but like, I'm not sure it deserves an article. Like, fine, some of us are going to be self-conscious about how we've changed over the pandemic. Some of us got fatter, thinner, balder, I don't know, maybe taller. So what? So what? So we all changed. Okay, then we should be certainly more accepting of each other since we've all changed. Very few of us are the same as we were 2.5 years ago. I lost a lot of weight and then gained some back and whatever. Like, who cares? I don't get it. Chiwat says, smart in how you interpreted Elon making a strategic move to avoid more layoff numbers. Thank you. It's just a guess, but that's what I think. So, Callum, goodbye. Hannah Knowles. I've never heard of her. I don't know her. Is 5 really the golden number for user testing? Oh, do we have to talk about this again? Not always, but it provides a comfort to finding and insights. As a user researcher, I've run various studies, and even though they're never the same each time, I've done one thing until recently, test with 5 users. Some studies I've run with 5 users and seen 0 consistency, and I can guarantee we've all been in the study where we finished with user 3 and we've thought, oh, we need to change X. Testing with 5 users is perfect for a one-day approach, but I'm finding that testing with 8 users over 2 days to be less stressful, provide a fairer opportunity for people to observe user experience, give you multiple opportunities to iterate. And she got 11 likes, so it kind of died in the algorithm. So again, I guess we'll say this for the 4,000th time for the people in the back. The rule of thumb about testing with 5 users is 5 per persona or segment. It's not supposed to be 5 total. If you have 3 key personas, you're supposed to be testing with 15. If you have 6 key personas, you're supposed to be testing with 30. If you care about disabilities, you're supposed to test with additional people to account for disabilities, conditions, and diagnoses. Thank you. Shri says at least 5 users per persona until you find insights. So to me, the rule of thumb is 5 per persona, group, or segment, plus people with varied disabilities. If you think it's just 5, you misunderstood Nielsen-Norman group, or you got your training from someone who misunderstood Nielsen-Norman group. So I'm going to move on. Okay. Oh, what did I just do? I made my screen ridiculously small. Here we go. All right. Somebody sent me this from irrationallabs.com. Now, we should take a moment to talk about irrationallabs.com. Those of you who are in the Slack community may or may not remember that I think about a year ago, I decided to sign up for their online course, which I think was between $400 and $500 American. And it was about behavioral design. So I figured, let's see if I can learn anything I happen to not know, and maybe this will be a course I can recommend to the low ego action heroes. Chihuat says, if we use Larry Marine's roles instead of personas, is it also 5 each? Yes. So to talk more about Irrational Labs, I ended up being very unhappy with their course. Their course appeared to be a bunch of their YouTube videos strung together with a bunch of their articles, and for that they wanted $400 to $500. You got dropped into a Slack community. You got, I think they held some office hours, and they gave you some assignments, but I didn't do any of it, and ultimately I was not impressed with the course. I would not recommend the course. I think you can just read their articles and watch some of their videos online, but ultimately I didn't find anything actionable from their course. The person who sent me this, if I remember correctly, was worried about the advice that they were giving. So let's take a look. This article's from last month, and it says human-centered design, how it fails, and what to design for instead. Okay, so right there, that article, that headline is a little bit clickbaity, and to me, I'm worried about it being deceptive. Human-centered design should basically never fail because it's fluid, it's cyclical, it's strategic, and we adjust human-centered design phases and tasks and techniques for whatever the project needs. So if you have a fluid process that is designed to be adjustable for what you're doing, and I can't put it up on the screen, it shouldn't fail. Unless people are doing it badly or wrongly, is that a word? Or picked the wrong tasks for the outcomes that we needed. And when it says what to design for instead, does that mean we're not designing for humans? Because if this article is going to tell you not to design for humans, what's left? What's left? If people are mad about the word users, they're mad about the word customers. Are we mad about the word humans now? So let's skim this article because it looks kind of medium-sized. So let's take a look at what they're saying. I was at a human-centered design thinking workshop. Okay, so here's the problem. There's human-centered design, and then there's design thinking. And they're not necessarily the same thing, as we've talked about over and over. Design thinking took human-centered design and boiled it down and simplified it beyond how much it should have been simplified. So if they're at a design thinking workshop, that is not representative of what human-centered design is. And in fact, if you look at user-centered design and human-centered design, at least in the models that I grew up on and I've been working with for decades, they don't call for workshops at all. So right there, I think the person is confusing human-centered design with design thinking that someone thought was originally based on human-centered design. There you go. We followed the human-centered design process playbook. Again, they're incorrect there. This isn't the human-centered design process playbook. This is the design thinking process playbook. So they did 6 months of interviews. The top concepts that emerged were emergency savings, government benefits, community space. So what it sounds like here, this person is either picking on HCD for some weird reason, or it sounds like the research was not done well. We've had some questions on the Tuesday show about what if I do research and my insights aren't really that good or they're not actionable. Perhaps this research was not planned, executed, or analyzed well if we didn't get actionable pain points and opportunities. Charlene said, someone recently told me design thinking is older than human-centered design. I don't believe that, and I need proof. Okay, Charlene, so here's what they might be talking about. Someone used the term design thinking in like the 60s, but they didn't mean it in the way that design thinking is meant today. So this is where it gets a little bit funky. There was the term, but it wasn't used to mean the 5-step workshop-based thing that we see now. They were using the term design thinking the way we use the term systems thinking. Someone in like the 60s figured, oh, there must be something that these designers and human factors engineers and industrial designers are doing that's different from what the rest of us are doing. So we'll call that design thinking, just like there's systems thinking. So the term design thinking is older, but it didn't mean what we mean it to mean today. So when we say design thinking, we don't mean there's something incredibly special that Larry Marine does that is so rare that just the people like Larry Marine can do, and it's so special and rare, we're going to call it design thinking. Instead, today's design thinking says, hey, if you just do these workshop things and these different exercises and canvases, you can do exactly what Larry Marine is doing. You're just like him. So that's the difference. The term has been around, but it didn't mean what it means now. And you can thank IDEO. So it's already hard for me to get too in love with this article because I think they've conflated a lot of things. I think are we really talking about human-centered design? Are we really talking about design thinking? Are we talking about research that was run planned or analyzed badly. So let's get to the meat of this. Surely this person has a point. They're saying there's flaws in human-centered design. So let's see. Human-centered design under-prioritizes prior insights. Not true. If you ever look at me proposing stuff to a client, one of the first things that we do in any project is review their previous insights. I ask our clients for survey data as we can, and especially if this is new research about something they've previously researched. I mean, I did that with Etsy. I remember with Etsy, I said, I want all your previous research, and I got decks and decks and decks and decks. So that's not human-centered design. That's a person. Human-centered design relies on an unreliable source, people. Okay, so they're going to tell me who to rely on instead of people. Now, again, they say customers lie to you, which is a common trope you'll hear in design or pseudo-design circles. And the idea is usually, and we've talked about it on the show before, that because what customers say is different from what customers do, people shorten that and try to cute it up by saying, well, people lie to you. But they don't lie to you on purpose. If I ask you, how many times did you eat vegetables this week? And you go, 6, and it was actually 3. I don't go, you fucking liar. I just go, okay, you didn't, remember that fully. So again, it sounds like this article is written in a manipulative way to set you up to just take this person's word for it. Human-centered design is this, human-centered design is that, people lie to you. I mean, you could walk away from this article having no faith left in the universe. But I'm hoping that if this person says that humans are an unreliable source, what should we do instead? That's where we look for an article to be meaningful and actionable. Humans don't admit when we don't know. Some humans don't admit when we don't know. Some do. I call them the low ego action heroes. So we have to remember that you do want to stay away from what we call universals. All, none. So we don't want to make it seem like all humans don't admit when we don't know. In reality, it is the existential, which is some humans don't admit when we don't know. Chihuat says, sounds like Dan giving a TED Talk. Well, Dan works with these people. This is Dan's company. So yeah, this should sound extremely familiar. Have the behavioral design. Hey, wouldn't you know this is a link to their course? Wow, I didn't see that coming. Tell me more. So again, are they going to... Oh, this was one of the reasons I didn't like the course. I thought, really? We're going to teach behavioral design, and then this company does things that I think are poor behavioral design? We're really going to interrupt the article. We're going to interrupt the user task to try to get someone on a mailing list and we're going to use confirm shaming? I'm completely rational. I mean, so this made me, when I went through their course, I saw things like this. For example, you could not, their course had a number of chapters, and the course unlocked 1 chapter a week. But my work schedule was so difficult that I had freed up some time to go through the course, and I was surprised when I got blocked, and I couldn't continue the course. And I wrote to them and I said, this is bad behavioral design. Don't you want me hooked to your course? Don't you want me getting through your course? Why would you block it and say, this is only as far as you can go this week, we'll give you more next week? If I want more, why would you keep me from that? What aspect of behavioral design does that improve or play into? So I felt like they weren't even eating their own dog food. So again, right there. So to me, this article doesn't have strong value. She still hasn't told you who to rely on instead of people. So now you just don't trust the world anymore. And now all of a sudden she wants to sell you on the behavioral design process and how it's going to increase retention and double conversion rates. And look, our guide can help you and our course can help you. Holy crap, y'all. This article is all over the place. All over the place. And look, I understand that many articles are content marketing so that we can sell somebody at the end. That's fine. I've started adding to my Medium articles at the end. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's fine. You can dump that at the end if you like. But I feel like this article was set up to sell you the course because we never learned what we're supposed to do instead. It says what to design for instead. I assume it's design for behavior, so take our course. But guess what? Behavior is done by humans and people. And you just told us people are an unreliable source, so what's left? So ultimately, I find this post to be garbage, and I actually found the course to be... Tim posted an introduction to the leadership ceiling, which I haven't heard about, but it looks like it's a blog post from March 2021. And some of what I write here will repeat what's over there. Okay, fine. So we're going to get to know whatever this leadership ceiling is. It's a simple construct. Leaders create a conceptual ceiling above which their organization cannot rise, and Tim identifies 3 ceilings. Purpose. Why does this organization exist? How is that purpose articulated? Are we driving toward output or outcomes? How does our purpose inspire, connecting people with their higher, better selves? Okay, a little bit high and mighty, but okay, I'll generally accept this. Okay, where are we going? People. Who is this organization? What is the caliber of the contributor? And are we creating a truly people-centered organization that enables those folks to deliver at their best? Certainly a good question. I think this sounds good so far. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Are we enabling people to do 5-star work and to do their jobs well? Excellent question for an organization and for leadership. So far I'm liking where this is going. Let me know what you think. And then the last one says process. How is the work getting done? Does our process bog us down or lift us up? How are we coordinating across functions? Are people spread too thin across too many initiatives? Are they able to maintain focus and commitment? Are teams empowered to practice a process that is fit for purpose? Or is there an imposed standard way of doing things that cannot be deviated from? Now he says, in my experience, I don't see 3 ceilings, rather 1 ceiling that is a product of how these 3 intersect. And then he draws this graph, which again, if you don't see the screen, I apologize. I'll try to describe it. It is the simplest graph in the world. There are 3 bars that are running horizontally, and they say purpose, people, and process. There are no measurements, so there are no number here. But basically, the ceiling is under whatever the lowest one is. So they've got purpose way up high. They've got people way up high. They have process kind of low. And the point is, that's your ceiling. Whatever is your lowest of these 3 things is the ceiling, and you won't be able to get above that even if you think you have great purpose or have great people. So I'll continue reading from the article. The diagram shows my take on this, which is the leadership ceiling is set by whichever factor is lowest. For instance, I've supported a number of banks and insurance services firms. They have high-minded aspirations for the business with mission statements about empowering people's financial well-being or improving the health of all Americans. These firms will also have committed to providing much more conscientious work environment that encourages bringing your whole self and stresses value of psychological safety and vulnerability. But these large legacy organizations are bogged down by process for reasons including bureaucracy, poor organization design, unwillingness to truly empower teams, people spread too thin, etc. So your leadership ceiling is established by the lower factors. And so even if your company has a great vision and culture and high and mighty talk, their ability to deliver is limited because of the process. I think this article is fine. I think this article is telling the truth. Now, I don't think it totally tells you what to do about this. I think it's an interesting concept. I think in order for this to be more actionable, we would have to diagnose those root causes. We would have to say, what in the process is going wrong? Where is this going wrong? And break it down into more granular pieces. Is it communication? Is it collaboration? Is it organizational design or power structures? I think if we want to try to fix this, we would have to make a similar diagram where Instead of just showing purpose in people high, we have to break out process to find what's going wrong. We can't just put it in a giant bucket and go, hey, our process is holding us back. I get it. I agree with you. Now what do? I don't know. Alrighty, maybe I'll work on a variation of that that's more actionable. That's what I like to do sometimes. Take people's models, give them credit for it, and make it better. All right, let's look at our last one. This is from just before the pandemic. Let's see. It says, think before you critique. 4 tips on giving criticism. I hope I'm still live. And this is Michelle, who I don't know, so I have no opinion on her. I also didn't get a chance to read this before the show. I think it came in kind of late. Let's see. Let me skim through it. I had a conversation about criticism, reminded me of criticism, helpful and unhelpful, professional singer and attorney. I'm an expert on receiving criticism, my first piano recital, and the criticism's been rolling in ever since. Both of my careers, the critiques are frequent and brutal. As a singer, the criticism was literally constant. Everyone has an opinion about music. Professional critiques have ranged from constructive comments to my hair and physical appearance. Okay, fine. Constructive criticism is necessary, she says, after making it sound like it's brutal and has been beating her up for years. Constructive criticism is part of professional growth. Input from others fosters innovation and creativity. Positive feedback can be a confidence booster. Criticism that doesn't have a clear purpose is never helpful. When you're giving criticism, think about how it moves the ball forward. What's the goal? How's your critique advancing the recipient towards a solution? We must get rid of the mentality that you must tear someone down before you build them up. You wouldn't burn down your house because a pipe is leaking. Okay, so what I'm getting from this so far, and we're about halfway through the article, is meaningful, actionable, helpful. Basically, she's saying criticism can be good. Criticism can be awful and brutal and meaningless, like I'm a singer and you're talking about my hair. So make sure you are you have a clear purpose and you're helping to move someone forward toward their goals. So I would just call this meaningful, actionable, helpful. Critics have responsibilities. As a critic, provide the following. 1, identify with specificity what you are criticizing. The recipient shouldn't have to guess. Crystallize your message and offer precise reasons for your critique. I think that's 2 things, but okay. 2, suggest a solution. Identifying a problem is not enough. It's not helpful to say the pipe is leaking. What are we going to do about it? So I'm on the fence about that one because I think there are times, I think in many cases we should suggest a solution. That's the actionable part. Meaningful, actionable, helpful. Actionable means, ooh, I can do something about this and I think I know what to do. But I think there's times where we do have to talk about things and we do have to criticize things where we don't have a solution. If I am critical of someone who is racist, I don't have the solution to racism. I may have some ideas on what that individual person could do better, but I may not be able to solve racism. I have a lot of criticism for UX education. I'm not sure I have the solution. I have ideas. I could come up with a solution, but the solution's not out there. So be careful about this one. We do want it to be actionable, but you might not have the solution, and it's not a solution until we've tested and iterated. Talk through implementing the solution. The recipient may not be as experienced as you and may need your help moving forward. Offer advice on how to reach the goal. So that's really being a coach. And again, giving something actionable to someone. Instead of, like I was saying before, don't just say, think, wake up, educate yourself. You gotta tell people, here's what you do. It's not personal, get back to business. Are you sure? Because you sounded pretty personally hurt at the beginning of the article. Delivering criticism is a tough conversation. Feelings may be hurt. All right, what do you all think of the article about criticism? I think it's okay. I think meaningful, actionable, helpful means more. and it's shorter. So that would be the show for today. Let's flip back to me. Any thoughts, questions, comments, disagreements, criticism? A nice cool drink on a hot day. Anything? I mean, if not, I will check the calendar for next week. We'll talk about what shows are coming up, and we will say goodbye. Monday is Think Out Loud. We're going to be continuing our Florida bar exam adventure. Tuesday is Office Hours Ask Me Anything with special guest Seth Mbele. Wednesday is our podcast to learn more about service design from our friend Jan. I'm doing a show every day this week because we are behind because I went on vacation. Thursday, I'll be reading my... did I read the article already about UX research without a hypothesis? Did I read that one already? Did I read UX research without a hypothesis? Because I'll cancel the Thursday show if I've already read that. Someone help me know my own show. Well, that would be next Thursday if I haven't done that. What was that show where we read 2 articles? Was that one of them? I don't expect y'all to remember. It was weeks ago. Oh, yeah. Episode 151, we read On Design Thinking. Oh, and my 2 opportunities to tell companies they're doing CX and UX incorrectly. Okay, so we haven't read my new article on how to do UX research without a hypothesis and how to do UX research when the product or idea doesn't exist yet. There you go. Terrence is here. Thanks for that perspective. As a former musician and transitioning UXer, I can relate. Hey, I'm a musician as well. I have a degree in music. I have a home studio. And so tell me, what is your music world? What do you play? What do you do? So yeah, next week we have a show every single day because we need to catch up. And then maybe we'll be caught up. Shri says, Debbie, could you tell us any tips on delivering critical feedback to your peers? I want to hear about your style. Okay, so I think that for critical feedback, and I've changed my style over time. I changed my style especially after we did a podcast. I don't remember what number it was, 59, 61, somewhere around there. We did a podcast on resilience. If you go to, if you just look up Delta CX resilience in YouTube, you'll find it. And I got some really good advice from the person who joined, who I if I remember correctly, was a psychologist. And she talked about how sometimes people can react better to criticism or feedback if you have warmed them up for your criteria. So I found that some people were reacting, let's just say, not that well to some of my portfolio reviews. They felt that I was being very harsh because I found things about their portfolio that were not good and possibly blocking them from interviews or a job. And I was telling them, hey, this is a red flag. This is a red flag. I don't think this is being expressed well. I don't think the process here looks strong. I'm concerned about this. And there was something she said that just struck me, and now I don't even remember what it was. But now I try to start all of my portfolio reviews saying, hi, I'm going to look at your portfolio from the perspective of a busy hiring manager. I've only got time to look at one thing in your portfolio, so you've got 2 minutes to make an impression on me, and I'm going to decide whether or not I want to interview you. I said, but in reality, I'll go through your whole project, and I'll tell you what makes me want to interview you and what makes me not want to interview you. And I'll be looking at your process. How did you do your work? And I'll be looking at your storytelling. I'll be looking at how you explain the work and the project to me. And so along the way, I'm going to tell you where I'm concerned about your process or where I think your storytelling maybe is missing some things. Now, ultimately, I give people the same advice I was giving them before, but ever since I've warmed people up at the beginning that like, hey, I'm going to assess this from a pretty tough perspective. perspective. And hey, if you are new to UX and you're hoping to get an apprenticeship, an internship, or something like that where they know you're coming in and you need training, hey, anybody can get that job. I'm not assessing you for could you get a job that knows you need training. I'm assessing for, are you ready for a junior job where you would be put on projects yourself and probably have minimal coaching or training? So now that I say that type of stuff, I find that some people are like, yikes, that was a little bit tough, but I needed to hear that. And thank you for that portfolio advice. And I think people are taking it better now that I warmed them up by saying, this is what I'm going to be looking for. And this is how I can tell what's going to be not good and what's going to be good. And that way, when we run into these things, we won't be surprised. So for work reviews, I usually look at 3, 4, or 5 criteria. I look at technical excellence. So of course, that's how good is your work? Are you finding the problems? Are you solving the problems, or whatever it is? I look at attention to detail. I think in UX, we have to be wildly paying attention to detail. We have to have the third is critical thinking. So we have to have our critical thinking hats on. We have to pay good attention to detail. Whether that attention is how much are the rounded corners of your buttons, or thinking through possible outcomes from different steps and screens and designs. So attention to detail is really everywhere. So those are the 3 key ones I look for. If it's somebody I'm coaching over and over, I look for, are they making the same mistakes over and over, or do they appear to be learning from previous feedback? Like, oh, 2 weeks ago you told me about those rounded corners where some of them were square and some of them were round. So now this week I made sure to make sure they all have the same radius. Great. Learning from the feedback, and I won't have to keep telling them the same thing. That's great. And then the 5th thing that I sometimes look for in some severe cases, and that's a weird thing to say without qualifying it, but in some cases, I've looked at when I am reviewing the work of someone who is higher level, a senior, a lead, a principal, I'm looking for, do I have to spoon feed this to this person? Because I'm worried sometimes that seniors, leads, and principals aren't really seniors, leads, and principals. They gave themselves a high title, or they got promoted too soon. So I'm looking for, can this person really do the work, or are they not doing it well or not doing it all without me saying, try this way, put this over here. Did you consider doing this? I've had some situations where I've had to review people's work, and it just seemed like they really couldn't get much done without me almost telling them exactly what to do. And I think that's, for me, is a red flag, because I really want people in all aspects of UX research, design, and UI design to be problem finders and problem solvers. I shouldn't have to spoon feed you the answers. I don't mind giving you some questions and things to think about, but I shouldn't be spoon feeding you the answers if you are senior, lead, or principal. The apprentice, intern, junior, mid-level, yes, I expect I'm going to have to hold your hand a little more. Chihuat says, during design critiques, is it wrong to point out a problem without giving a solution on the spot? Sometimes you can point out why it's wrong, but you can't think of a solution on the spot. No, I don't think we have to think of a solution on the spot. Sometimes I say, there's just something not quite right about this. I'm just going to make a note and work on it later. Or, gosh, I'm not sure this is really the best design for this. I'm a little worried that we've put in too many steps. I'm not sure of the right number of steps, but, I'll work on this later and we'll review it tomorrow. So I'm not afraid to say to someone, there's a problem here. I can spot the problem. I'm not quite sure what it should be, but I'm going to work on it and get back to you. So no, I would absolutely have no problem with you. I think it would be great to identify the problem, and I don't expect you to have a solution on the spot. Terrence says he's a quasi-pianist and former chamber singer. Yay to chamber singing. Yay. I don't know if you know this one, but earlier today, for no reason, because it's not Christmas, I was singing While by My Sheep I Watched at Night. Do you know that one? And my boyfriend, who's born and raised Italian, and they don't have a lot of Christmas songs, he was like, "What is this? And why is it creepy?" And I was like, "It's a Christmas song. What's creepy about it?" And that ended up funny and silly. I was like, "While by my sheep I watched at night, glad tidings brought an angel bright." I think he just thought maybe the melody was creepy because he couldn't hear any chords under it. I was just singing the melody. Does anybody know "While by my sheep"? Is this just me? I'm not even religious. I just remember Christmas songs from high school. We had to learn them, for high school choir. Okay, Terrence says, "I love "While by my sheep." Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know why he thought it was creepy, but I thought that was pretty funny because the Italians don't really... It's funny, Americans think Christmas music, it's everywhere. A lot of countries don't get American Christmas music, and I have to tell you, it makes Christmas a lot more peaceful to not hear the same 7 songs over and over. But you don't hear "While by my sheep" a lot. I just remember learning it in choir, and we had the chamber singers doing the echoey part. New song to me. Okay, well, there you go. If you would like a new Christmas song in your life, "While by my sheep." That's BY, by my sheep, as like you're near them because you're the shepherd, not while purchasing sheep. So be careful of homonyms. While near my sheep. Yeah. Yeah, as I was trying to explain it to my boyfriend, I was like, it's one of the many Christmas songs that for some reason imagine you were there as Jesus is being born, or you're somehow nearby. Amazing. What are the odds? Chihuat says, "I only know Christmas is coming when Mariah is played." Whoop, woof. What are we woofing about? Olivia the dog once sang to me while I was on a video call with Elijah from the Low Ego Action Heroes. That was really funny. Do you remember what song we sang? Oh, I do. I was singing the background music Queen wrote for the Flash Gordon movie. Does anybody know the soundtrack Queen did for the Flash Gordon movie? Yeah. Do you want to come sing with me? Well, then come sing with me. Oh, you're a very good singer. Seriously, I sang something, and then the dog made the same sound, and Elijah was like, "Oh my God, your dog just sang the same thing." Yeah. So, yeah. Any other thoughts or questions for, what was today? Practicing critical thinking. We ended up on a tangent. We're in Christmas songs in June, and... And I'm still having coughing fits. I'm so sorry. And getting funny looks from my dog. All right. Well, if there is nothing else going on, then I will catch everybody on Monday for the Think Out Loud stream. Remember, always 6:30 p.m. Italy time. And please help us spread the word of the channel. I am still shadow banned by YouTube, so won't you please let 3 friends know, coworkers, managers, product managers, anybody know about our channel so that we can continue growing organically. And maybe for Christmas, we'll record a song. We'll all send in tracks, and we'll have the giant low ego action hero "While by my sheep" choir. How about that? Maybe there's something better. What's better? Oh, well. All right, so I'm going to play us out of here. Sorry again about my bad internet. I guess we'll have to call the company and do something about it, but hopefully the rest of the stream went well. Thank you, Chiwat. Good to see you. By the way, I've been using the sunblock you suggested, and I didn't get more pimples. So you, sir, are the best. Thanks, everybody. I will catch you Monday. Happy weekend. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are